Welcome to the deep dive, where we try to cut through the noise and really zero in on the important nuggets of knowledge just for you. Today, we're diving into something, well, it's incredibly familiar, but the scale is surprising: the global yogurt market. We're going to unpack the sheer economics, the money, and where this everyday item is heading. Our source for this deep dive is a pretty detailed market research report. It's called Global Yogurt Market Growth Projections to 2033. And our mission basically is to pull out the core insights from these projections, help you understand not just what the numbers are, but like what they really mean. So think about this. When you grab that yogurt from the fridge, do you ever think it's part of an industry soon to be worth nearly, $200 billion globally? Okay, let's unpack this.
It is. It's truly a colossal market. I mean,
Yeah.
much bigger than most people probably imagine. Globally, okay, back in 2021, the sales revenue reported was $107.655 billion.
Wow, over 100 billion already.
Exactly. And looking ahead, that's projected to climb. By 2025, they expect $131.8 billion. And then, pretty impressively, it's forecast to reach $197.55 billion by 2033.
Okay, hold on. $197 billion.
Yep. And this steady expansion, it translates to a global compound annual growth rate,
Yeah.
the CAGR, of 5.189% over that whole period.
Wow. So from just over $100 billion to almost $200 billion in, about 12 years? That's not just like steady growth. That feels like a fundamental expansion. For yogurt, it really shows how powerful these sort of everyday consumer goods industries are. What's driving that kind of consistent surge globally?
Well, broadly speaking, it's a few things. Definitely increasing health consciousness is a big one. Also, rising disposable incomes, particularly in emerging markets. And of course, product innovation plays a part. But, to really get it, we need to look at the regions. Let's zoom in on North America first.
Okay, North.
Right. So in North America, the market value in 2021 was $31.22 billion. And that's projected to hit $54.702 billion by 2033. The CGR there is 4.683%, a bit lower than the global average, but still strong. Now, the U.S. is, of course, the giant here. It accounted for over $25 billion in 2021, projected to reach nearly $44 billion by 2033.
Okay, so the U.S. dominates, but you said the story gets more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It gets interesting when you look at the growth rates elsewhere in North America.
Ah, okay. So Canada and Mexico, are they just following along or doing something different?
They are absolutely charting their own course.
Right.
While the U.S. market is huge, yeah, Canada and Mexico are showing significantly higher growth rates.
Yeah.
Canada's projected CAGR is 5.749%.
Higher than the U.S. rate?
Yep. And Mexico's projected even faster at 5.286%.
Interesting. So what does that suggest? Less saturation.
That's likely part of it. Less market saturation, probably a growing appetite for yogurt products overall. We might be seeing, shifts in diet, maybe more demand for convenience, or yogurt moving beyond just breakfast. By the way, all the detailed country figures are in our show notes for anyone who wants to dive deeper.
Good point. Yeah, that difference between size and growth rate is really key. Shows where the dynamic opportunities are. Okay, so moving across the Atlantic, what's the picture like in Europe?
Europe, right. The overall market there was $20.239 billion in 2021. It's projected to grow to $35.144 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 4.619%.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty close to North America's rate.
Okay. And Europe's obviously very diverse.
Exactly. Very diverse. You've got big established markets like the UK and Germany. They show solid growth, but it's more moderate.
Yeah.
CAGR is around 3.7% for the UK, 4% for Germany.
Right. So steady but not explosive. Where's the faster growth happening, though?
Well, that's where France stands out. It has a strong projected CAGR of 5.361%.
Higher than the regional average.
Definitely. And even more notable is what the report calls rest of Europe. This is basically a collection of many smaller, often less saturated markets. And that segment is projected to have the highest TDA and GR in the whole region at 6.036%.
Wow. So lots happening in those perhaps less traditional yogurt markets?
Yeah, it could point to, evolving tastes, maybe health trends catching on more widely, or new products like plant-based yogurts gaining traction across the continent. It really signals there's still plenty room for expansion, even in a generally mature market like Europe.
So pockets of higher growth, even within established regions. Okay, let's pivot then. Asia Pacific, often seen as a growth powerhouse, right?
Oh, absolutely. Asia Pacific is, a true powerhouse for yogurt. This region's market was already the largest globally back in 2021, $42.954 billion.
Already the biggest. Okay.
Yep. And it's forecast to soar to $83.188 billion by 2033. That comes with a really robust TAGR of 5.795%. noticeably above the global average.
Okay, that's significant growth. Where's it coming from within APAC? China,
Yeah.
Japan.
Well, China and Japan are definitely major contributors, yes. China projected to hit almost $24 billion, Japan nearly $16 billion by 2033, both growing over 5% CAGR. But the most compelling story, I think, is India.
India.
India. It's projected to lead the region in growth rate with an impressive 6.54% CAGR. It's going from just over $6 billion in 2021 to potentially more than $13 billion by 2033, doubling.
Wow. What's driving that in India?
A lot of the classic emerging market factors, urbanization, rising middle-class incomes, certainly, but also a growing awareness of yogurt's health benefits, particularly things like gut health that seems to be really taking off there. We also see high growth in places like Singapore, 6.332% CAGR, and across Southeast Asia, collectively, that's 6.145%.
So India, Singapore, Southeast Asia, really strong numbers.
And don't forget the rest of APAC category,
Mhm.
similar to Europe. That group actually shows the highest projected CAGR in Asia-Pacific at 7.865%.
Goodness, that really underscores how vital these developing and diverse Asian markets are to the whole global picture.
Absolutely. It's almost like a snowball effect, just gaining momentum.
Yeah. Okay, so from the biggest region, let's shift focus to South America. What's the deep dive showing us there?
South America. Okay. Their yogurt market totaled $7.428 billion in 2021, and it's expected to more than double, reaching $15.429 billion by 2033. But what's really striking here is the CAGR, 6.227%.
Wait, 6.227%. That's higher than Asia Pacific, isn't
It
it?
is. That makes South America the fastest growing region globally for yogurt, according to these projections.
Wow. Okay, that's significant. What's fueling that? Why is South America leading the charge?
It seems to be a combination of factors. Again, you have countries like Argentina showing phenomenal growth. Its CAGR is projected at 6.763%, the highest single country rate in the region.
Almost 7% growth per year.
Incredible, right? And Brazil, which is a much larger market, is also growing very strongly at 5.867%. The rest of South America segment is also very high at 6.585%. Suggests strong cultural adoption, increasing demand for dairy overall. And we're seeing more diverse products appearing too, drinking yogurts, fortified yogurts, things catering to different lifestyles.
So it sounds like yogurt is becoming much more integrated into daily diets across the continent.
That seems to be the case. Less of a niche product, more mainstream.
Incredible. So Asia Pacific and South America are really pulling the global average up. How do the Middle East and Africa fit into this picture? Are they similar high growth stories?
They're a bit different. Let's look at the Middle East first. The market there was $3.876 billion in 2021, projected to reach $5.709 billion by 2033. This CAGR is more moderate, 3.538%.
Okay, noticeably lower than the global average.
Right. Saudi Arabia is the largest market within the region.
Mhm.
Interestingly, the UAE shows a comparatively higher AGR within the Middle East at 4.691%. Egypt also over 4%. But overall, yes, steady growth, but not as explosive. Perhaps different consumption habits, or maybe some markets are already quite mature.
Got it. In Africa.
Africa. The market achieved $1.938 billion in 2021, smallest region by value. It's projected to hit $3.378 billion by 2033, with a CAGR of 3.677%. Similar pace to the Middle East.
Okay. Any standouts within Africa?
Well, Nigeria and South Africa are the largest individual country markets reported here, both growing around 3.3%. But similar to other regions, the rest of Africa segment shows the most promise within the continent, projected growth at a CAGR of 4.025%.
So even in regions with lower overall growth rates, there are pockets, often in the less developed markets, showing stronger potential.
Exactly. It suggests that as economies develop, incomes rise, and consumer awareness increases, there's still significant untapped potential, especially across Africa.
Okay, so if we try to connect all these dots now, we've gone around the globe. What's the big takeaway when you put all these regional stories together?
Well, what's really fascinating is seeing those KGRs side by side. South America leading, 6.227%. Asia Pacific close behind at 5.795%, both well above that global average, about 5.2%. And Europe and North America are solid, but closer to the 4.6% mark. Middle East and Africa trailing slightly behind that.
Yeah.
So the data clearly paints a picture of strong, consistent global expansion, absolutely. But it also really highlights that the primary engines of this growth are the emerging economies.
Right.
These numbers aren't just abstract figures. They represent billions of people, increasingly adding yogurt to their diets.
Yeah.
It seems driven by health trends, rising incomes, yes,
Yeah.
but also just the sheer availability of more diverse products now.
It really hints at a future where yogurt isn't just, say, a Western breakfast thing, but a truly global food, adapted for all sorts of cultural tastes and uses.
Precisely.
It's amazing how one simple product, yogurt, can actually tell us a bigger story about shifting global demographics, changing consumer demands, and, well, economic development itself. So we started this deep dive with a mission, right? To understand the kind of surprising financial scale and the future growth of the global yogurt market. And what we found is, well, it's genuinely impressive. An industry that was already over $100 billion just a few years back is on a clear path to nearly double, hitting close to that $200 billion mark by 2033. It's definitely far more than just a simple snack. It's a massive, dynamic global business, clearly responding to some profound shifts in how we all eat and live. So here's a final thought for you to mull over. Considering these really strong growth trends, especially in places like South America and Asia, what innovations do you think will really define the next decade for yogurt? Is it new products, new ways of getting it to people, different marketing? And how might all those diverse cultural preferences continue to shape this huge market in ways maybe we haven't even fully grasped yet? Something to think about. We definitely encourage you to keep exploring these everyday things with a fresh perspective.
Welcome back, everyone. For today's deep dive, we're tackling something you might find in your fridge every day, but maybe haven't thought about its huge global market, yogurt.
That's right. It seems simple, but it's surprisingly dynamic.
Exactly. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding what's really driving growth, that sort of spoonful surge in sales we're seeing.
And for this, we're leaning heavily on some excellent data from cognitive market research. They provide really credible, up-to-date global market info, which is crucial for getting a clear picture.
It really is. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Explore the key things fueling growth, look at the challenges, the restraints holding it back, and then the cool innovations shaping its future. And for you listening, think about it. How does this one product, yogurt, actually mirror some much bigger shifts in what consumers want globally?
It's quite revealing when you unpack it.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Where do we start with this spoonful surge? It's definitely not random.
No, definitely not.
It seems like the biggest thing, the first key driver, is this massive shift towards health and wellness.
Absolutely. That's foundational.
People are way more aware now about gut health, immunity, digestive wellness,
Right.
all that stuff.
Right.
And that directly drives demand for yogurts with, live cultures, added protein, vitamins. It's almost positioned as wellness in a cup.
And what's interesting there is how yogurt already has this built-in health halo for many consumers. It's not like, say, soda trying to convince people it's healthy. Yogurt starts from a position of trust. So adding probiotics or extra protein feels like a natural extension, not a gimmick. It becomes a functional wellness product pretty easily in people's minds.
That's a great point. It has a head start. Okay, so
Yeah.
building on health, the second driver, convenience. Just definitely.
Modern life demands it.
Our busy lifestyles have completely changed snacking, haven't they? And yogurt fits right in as that healthy, easy on-the-go thing. You see it in all the format innovations, like drinkable yogurts, those squeezable pouches for kids.
Or adults.
Yeah, the ready-to-go cups.
Exactly. Perfect for a pre-gym boost. Chuck in a lunchbox. It just works for people needing speed and ease with minimal fuss.
And these innovations directly meet that need. They align perfectly with how people consume things now, quickly, easily, often outside the home.
Makes total sense. Then driver number 3, and this one feels huge too. The plant-based revolution.
Wow, yes. This is really taken off.
Factors like veganism, lactose intolerance, even just, concerns about sustainability. They have blown the doors open for dairy-free yogurts.
Huge opportunities created there.
And the variety now. Almond, soy, coconut, oat. These aren't just niche anymore. They're creating massive, thriving segments.
What's fascinating here is it's not just a trend. I agree. It feels more like a transformation.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally reshaping the category and the market opportunities within it. Mainstream consumers have adopted these alternatives really quickly. Okay, so we've got health, convenience, plant-based. Sounds like a market set for unstoppable growth.
Yeah.
But there are always challenges, right?
Always. No market is without its hurdles.
So let's get into those restraints. Where does it get tricky? First up, you mentioned emerging markets. price sensitivity there can be a real issue.
Yes, that's a major one.
Those premium yogurts, organic, super high protein, maybe specialty ingredients, they can struggle, where cost is the absolute bottom line for consumers.
Exactly. Affordability often trumps specific nutritional benefits, especially when budgets are tight.
So how do brands navigate that?
Well, this raises an important question. It forces brands into a balancing act. How do you offer something perceived as premium or beneficial, but still make it accessible?
Right.
It often means creating specific product lines for those markets, maybe smaller sizes, different formulations, really smart pricing strategies. It's tough.
Real tightrope walk.
Yeah.
Okay, restraint number 2, logistics. This sounds maybe less exciting, but it's critical.
Oh, it's hugely important for perishables like yogurt.
Yogurt has a short shelf life, needs constant refrigeration. That cold chain distribution is expensive and difficult,
Very.
especially in regions that maybe don't have consistent electricity or, develop cold storage infrastructure. That's a massive headache.
It really highlights the broader supply chain issues for anything that needs to be kept cold. It limits how far products can travel, increases costs significantly, and can actually prevent smaller local producers from scaling up or reaching wider markets.
Yeah, I can see how that limits reach and profitability. And the third, restraint. It's just a crowded field, isn't it?
It really is. Yogurt isn't alone in the healthy snack space.
No way. It's competing against smoothies, kefir, protein bars, even like fruit and nut packs.
Yeah.
Lots of things offering similar benefits.
Portability, health perception, functional ingredients. Many categories are playing in that space now.
So what does that mean for brands?
Well, it means that fragmentation forces them to work a lot harder for those consumer dollars. You can't just exist. You have to really stand out.
Okay, so that leads us nicely into the next part. Given those challenges, price, logistics, competition, how are brands standing out? What are the key trends helping them rise above?
There are some really interesting strategies emerging.
One you hear a lot about is clean label. That seems big.
Huge. Clean label simplicity is definitely a major trend.
Consumers are actively looking for yogurts that are minimally processed, no artificial stuff, less sugar.
Right. They want transparent labeling, simple ingredients, things that feel, closer to nature.
Why is that so powerful, Al?
I think it taps into consumer trust. There's a desire to understand exactly what you're putting into your body,
Makes sense.
and a move towards foods perceived as more natural. So for yogurt, that means shorter ingredient list with things people recognize, which, by the way, can be technically challenging for manufacturers trying to maintain taste and texture.
I bet. Okay, another trend, global flavors.
Yeah.
This sounds fun.
Yeah, this is really shaking things up.
Brands are moving way beyond just strawberry and vanilla, right? We're seeing flavors like matcha, turmeric, passion fruit, even savory yogurt dips.
Exactly. It's expanding yogurt beyond just breakfast. It's becoming an afternoon snack, a cooking ingredient, a base for dips and sauces, much more versatile.
So it keeps the category exciting.
Definitely. This kind of flavor innovation appeals to consumers looking for new, maybe bolder taste experiences. It turns a staple food into something a bit more adventurous.
Cool. And the final trend you wanted to highlight, sustainability.
Yes, this is increasingly important across all consumer goods, and yogurt is no exception.
So how does that play out? Ethical sourcing, packaging.
All of the above. Things like using recyclable or even biodegradable packaging.
Like those lids you sometimes see now.
Precisely. Also, focusing on eco-conscious dairy farming practices, maybe promoting farm-to-fridge traceability so consumers feel connected to the source.
And this helps brands differentiate.
Absolutely. Aligning with consumer values around environmental responsibility is a powerful way to stand out, especially in that crowded market we talked about. It builds loyalty beyond just the product itself.
Interesting. It connects back to that trust factor, too.
It does, though, again, there's the question of cost. How are these initiatives priced in, and are consumers willing to pay a potential premium?
Always a factor. Okay, so let's just quickly recap the core stuff we've covered in this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Key drivers fueling the growth. Those big health and wellness trends, the need for convenient, on-the-go formats, and that huge wave of plant-based innovation.
Got it.
Key restraints holding things back a bit. The price pressures, especially in some markets, those tricky refrigeration and logistics hurdles, and fierce competition from other snacks.
The challenges.
But brands are fighting back with key trends like clean labels, exciting global flavors, and a real focus on sustainability.
That's a good summary. And if you zoom out, what you see is yogurt really transforming.
Oh, so.
It's evolving from just simple breakfast food into a genuine nutritional powerhouse. And it's becoming this incredibly versatile food category that keeps adapting to what we want, our tastes, our lifestyles.
Yeah, it shows real resilience adapting like that.
It really does.
Yeah.
Demonstrates a lot of innovation.
So a final thought for everyone listening. Next time you're looking at yogurt, whether it's in the wellness aisle or just in your fridge,
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
Think about how this one seemingly simple food actually reflects our huge global priorities: health, convenience, ethics, new experiences. It's a fascinating little window into what we collectively value and aspire to, shaping entire industries in ways you might not expect.
Well said. A lot packed into that little cup.